Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this week's video. Skillshare is an online learning community that has thousands of inspiring classes for curious and creative people. There you can explore new skills, develop existing interests, and just get lost in creativity. If you have ever wanted to start your own YouTube channel but aren't exactly sure where to start, I would definitely recommend the class called YouTube Success, Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD. He takes you from the very beginning of step-by-step of what you could do to be successful. I love that all these classes have timestamps in them so you can go back and listen to the things that you want to re-listen to and you know exactly where they are. Skillshare offers membership with meaning. Connect with the support of fellow creatives and enter a community of encouragement, communication, and inspiration. The first 1,000 of our subscribers to click the link in the description will get 30% off an annual premium subscription so you can explore your creativity. Even if you've already had a free trial of Skillshare, you could still take advantage of a full year of unlimited learning and creative exploration.
I sure hope your love is too. And if it gave you cause to doubt me, hope you always think about me. And if you think I'm gonna find another, it ain't true. Keep the home fire burning while I'm gone. I'll be back to fan the flame, it won't be long. Just a while and then I'm back where I belong. Home fire burning while I'm gone. Yeah. All kinds of trouble, you know what to do. I know you take care of yourself. There's a box of 22s, and my pistol's always loaded, and another in the sock drawer, just in case they think I'm gone. Lord, I know I've done some evil in my time, but that don't mean there ain't no goodness in this evil heart of mine. And it don't mean that I can't see the light. So while I'm out here fighting this good fight, just keep the home fire burning while I'm gone. I'll be back to fan the flame, it won't be long. I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to, then I'm home. Keep the home fire burning while I'm gone. Keep the home fire burning. Won't you keep it burning, honey, while I'm gone?
As Cedar and I have worked hard to figure out this off-grid lifestyle, there are definitely levels to how disconnected a person can get when living off-grid. As hard as we have worked to embrace the off-grid lifestyle And to be as independent as we possibly can be, we are still petroleum dependent. We must have gas and diesel to drive our cars. We must have propane to run the dryer and the stove inside the house. If there was a complete breakdown in our ability to get gas, diesel, or propane, we would obviously have to cross that bridge when we get there, but in the meantime, we have decided to pick up a diesel storage tank where we can store a decent amount of diesel for the equipment that uses it around the ranch. Most farms and ranches keep a fair amount of diesel in storage so they don't have to run to town every time some piece of equipment may need it. I've been trying to find a 1,000-gallon storage tank for over a year now, and the irony is, as soon as I pick one up, diesel prices are going through the roof. As far as the off-grid lifestyle is concerned, we can try and pretend that we're not dependent on certain things that we can't produce, but deep down, that's really not the lifestyle that we're trying to live. We love the idea of being completely independent, but we also love the idea of living with some of the modern amenities that we have in this day and age. Cedar and I have talked about this before in a previous video, but there are some people that think that you can't be off-grid and have internet. Or there are some people that think that you can't be off-grid and be petroleum dependent. I don't typically spend a whole lot of time thinking about what those people might think. Instead, we've simply tried to be prepared for whatever may come our way. Getting this tank filled up with farm diesel or red dyed diesel that can be used in the equipment around the ranch is just another way that we can minimize, in fact, how often we do have to go to town for something. Oftentimes in our area, fuel prices are the best in the months of February and March. Many farms and ranches purchase their fuel for the entire year during those months. Personally, I would love the idea that I didn't have to purchase any petroleum-based products. But again, that's really not the life that we're trying to live. I'm trying to build a stand for the tank out of railroad ties that is not only stable, safe, and secure. Once it's full, it will end up weighing over 8,000 pounds. So driving the rebar down through the railroad ties should ensure this tank never moves. The tank is completely plumbed up. The tank is ready to go. Now we just have to make some decisions around whether or not we're going to pay the high prices right now, or if we're going to wait till early spring when prices are typically under $2 a gallon for red dyed diesel.
Red dyed diesel is used for like farm equipment, so like the tractor, the excavator, hopefully the plow truck. We're gonna look into getting a different plow truck that can use the red dyed diesel, and it's just convenient to have a bunch of fuel on hand because we don't want to drive the tractor or the excavator into town. And many times Heath's been in the middle of a project and he's run out of fuel. We're like, we gotta go run and get some fuel real quick. So it's gonna be nice to have this on hand.
We look at this like we look at our food storage. Having an extra 1,000 gallons of diesel around is an insurance policy, if nothing else. It will get used somewhere. we can't run it in Cedar's Jeep. The idea behind red dyed diesel, there's no federal highway tax associated with the diesel. So if you get pulled over and they dip your tank, there's fines associated with running red dyed when you're on the roads. I have no problem putting it in the plow truck. Plow truck never sees asphalt. I have no problem putting it in any of our equipment around here. But if we fill it up, we're going to try not to use it, because again, I look at this like our food storage. If I put the right additives into it, even over winter, this will last every bit of 2 years, if not even longer. I know many farmers that put the additives in their fuel and they keep their tanks full because they don't want the condensation that could lead to, there's actually an algae that will grow in your tank. Putting the right additives in there will prevent that from happening. So now Cedar and I just have to make some decisions on if we're gonna pay the big bucks as prices continue to go up, or if we're just gonna wait until early spring and pay the...
Or get a horse and buggy if we don't have fuel, right? Just go into town on that.
That's an option.
Might be cheaper at this point.
Yeah, really, you're not kidding. So anyway, we're super, again, we've wanted to do this for like a year. It just so happens that the moment we
got it behind the shop, out of the way, no one can see it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, but now fuel prices are going crazy, so we have to decide what we're
doing. That's how life is. That's just how it goes.
Again, how our life is.
Just how you learn, right? How you learn and grow.
This is the valley where our family ranch is to this day, approximately somewhere right in here. So this is a painting of the ranch house that my great-grandparents had built, basically in place of this here. I found this lithograph online for sale. It came out of a book that was used to try and talk a lot of Eastern people into coming west. So it was a book that was all about Idaho. The book itself I've seen for sale for thousands, and I think even it was like $10,000. And it was a collection of these lithographs. This one lithograph was for sale for right around $800. And I think it was on Amazon or somewhere. And I continued to search because I wasn't willing to pay $800 for this. And I ended up finding a company in San Francisco that had this. So this is an original. I think I paid $60 for it. And this right here, where these holding pins are for the dairy, there's now lambing sheds. Basically all that's left is I don't think, there's nothing left from this picture that I'm aware of, other than the creek. The creek still runs right through there, obviously. This was all my family's land. The little cabin is somewhere out here on this hill that I've been up to a few times. This was all the family land.
There's a cemetery. Where's the cemetery?
The cemetery would be up here, somewhere over here on the hill. But now the ranch house that my great-grandmother, grandparents had, they built that, I think, in the 20s, in the 1920s. And then my grandfather bought that ranch from his mom. And then my dad and my uncles, my dad was, I think, 16 when they moved to Arizona. So I love, absolutely love that we have this. Cedar took it down and had it framed. And anyway, I love that it's on the wall here with all the other stuff that's important to us. So it's pretty cool.
This painting is from our friends Pam and Jeff, who we've never met. They live in New Zealand, and Pam is an artist, and she painted that for us and sent it to us, and it has been one of my most favorite paintings. Over the past couple of years, we've gotten some really positive emails from some people that I would consider friends now. Pam and Jeff, and they're from New Zealand, and they sent us a package and the other day, and it finally arrived, and we're excited to open it.
They it cost them a small fortune to send this to us. This is a bit unexpected, and we thought it got lost. We thought it got lost in the mail, which was terrifying, but it got here. So let's see what we got. I don't know if I should touch that.
Oh
my hands are not the cleanest.
That is so
Wow. She really painted that.
pretty. It is, Pam. I love it, Pam. Thank you so much. It's beautiful.
Let's turn it sideways so they can see it. So that's incredible. That'll go on the wall.
I don't know why it makes me super emotional, but that's just what makes Red Poppy Ranch home.
Jukebox bear.
Down in Louisiana, where the tall, tall pine trees grow, there live a preacher daughter and she knows how to jelly roll. And a papa wanna save my soul, but a sweet talking daughter, Lord, she loves to jelly roll. Yes, she do. Well, I got a gal in old St. Louis, one in San Antonio. Come and get it while you can, for tomorrow I'll be gone. And my good gal sitting alone, she hollering her back, Daddy, Daddy, will you come in home? Won't you come on home? Them the gals in Mississippi get along when they talk. Hell, they can recommend just like a cannonball. Hell, I love to watch them fall. Oh, the Mississippi woman, Lord, if they don't beat all. Oh, now, yes they do. Well, I've been looking out my window as far as I can see. I'm looking for the rounders and they're looking out for me. Oh, but why won't they let me be? I'm a high-stepping papa from way down in Tennessee. Yes, I am. Why won't they let me be?
All right, I gotta get this dang truck done, get it out of the shop, get it on the road. The pump has to come out. I gotta finish the crossover steering, which is basically just bolting stuff together. But I ran down to the junkyard, got the part. I needed the nut that goes on this shaft on the other pump. And I got it. I got everything I need. I just need to get the dang thing finished. I'm gonna spend the rest of the night working on this, trying to get it done, hoping that I can get the new pump swapped out, and then I'm gonna take her for a rip and see how she does. The crew cab Chevy is nearly finished and ready to be used on a daily basis. The new crossover steering setup that I've installed on the front end basically guarantees that the 35-inch tires will be easy to turn even when the truck is sitting still, and it should last a very, very long time in spite of whatever road conditions we may happen to have at that time. The next big project I will likely do is swap the drivetrain out of this truck for another Cummins diesel that will get much better gas mileage than the big block that's in it now. Yeah, she's around here. But until I find the right motor, transmission transfer case, I'm going to drive the crew cab with the current drivetrain that's in it. By getting the truck on the road and getting it out of the shop, it simply frees up more shop space for other more pressing projects. We're probably a week or two away from one of the biggest projects here at the property. We've decided to dive into the changes that we're going to make to the house, mainly the roof, as the weather is now nice enough to tackle these big projects. But before I do this, I needed to get the crew cab finished and on the road. This truck is going to be used the same way that I used the Dodge truck. These vehicles are tools to me. My parents raised my siblings and I in a way where we had a deep connection to our family name and those that came before us, and often sacrificed everything for the rights and freedoms that we now have. I can remember my uncles and my grandfather sitting around talking about the family ranch, and the limited number of times that I was able to go to the family ranch before my grandparents passed away left a deep impression on me. To this day, out in front of the family ranch house is a monument that my grandfather had made in honor of his parents, who built the ranch house and did so much more when it was their turn to manage it. There were times in my youth when I felt that I would never measure up to my family name, but at some point, that feeling went away, and I recognized just how important it is to have that connection with those that came before me. This is a good part of the reason why Cedar and I moved our family from Arizona to Idaho in the first place.
And then the goats ate it. And now the chickens are in.
No, this is the tree I dug up and transplanted. So that's probably, the chickens will love that right there.
So.
That feather.
Cedar and I have also made an effort to raise our kids in a way where they have a connection, not just to the family name that they share, but to all of the different sides of the family that again went before us and sacrificed so much. In spite of the fact that I may not have felt like I would ever measure up to my father or my grandfather, or maybe even my siblings at times in my life, at some point I developed a connection and a pride to my heritage. And I personally believe this is incredibly important. It seems to be that many people in the world that we live in have lost their connection to those that have gone before us, and therefore don't know who they are, don't know what they stand for. And because of this, these individuals get tossed to and fro like an unanchored boat at sea. Wherever the tides happen to be going, you're along for the ride, whether you like it or not. Having a connection to both of my grandfathers on both sides of the family did a lot of good for me.
That's from all my days of playing whack-a-mole as a kid.
Is that what that is?
More?
Perfect. And like I said, at times I felt that I would never measure up to my family name. At this point in my life, I'm incredibly grateful that my parents chose to raise me in a way where I genuinely understood what the family name stood for, and again, the many things that had to be sacrificed along the way. I will forever be grateful to the risk takers that came before me, that chose to leave the comfort and the safety behind and travel to a new world where they might have a chance at freedom in a way that they'd never experienced before. In a world that continues to chip away at the family values and frankly the importance of the family altogether, we can only hope and pray that our kids grow up with that same deep connection to their family heritage that I was so fortunate to grow up with. For years now, we have had a cedar chest sitting at the foot of our bed that I would regularly sit on and pull my boots on for the day. But recently we decided to get rid of that cedar chest because it had been damaged and the quality was not good enough to justify fixing it. Big old dream, I'm going round on a cloud in the sky. Oh man, see you, Sarah. That's when So I now need a bench or something to sit on at the start of every new day. So by building this little bench, I now have a place that I can sit down on, pull my boots on, and get the day started right. The three biggest projects that I'm really looking forward to getting done this summer revolve around the house and the shop. I'm going to take the existing corrugated tin roof off of the house, change the pitch of the roof on the first floor, including the front porch and the back addition. Then once that's done, get the solar panels moved from the ground to the new roof on the house. Then we will build a new goat/chicken barn against the north end of the shop. So as our little goat herd continues to grow, we will have the proper setup to be able to maintain them. Once the new barn is done, I will then relocate the generator to the new room in the barn so the generator is not so close to the house. Then hopefully our lives here at the ranch will continue to get better. Not that it's not great now, but it seems to be a process of identifying projects that may need to be improved or fixed, getting them fixed, and moving on to the next. Because there's always something. In the middle of all this, I need to get enough firewood piled up for next winter. There's about 25 more projects that I hope to get to this summer, but the primary focus has to be on the house and the shop. Gotta be is good enough to handle me, so I have a place to put in my boots.
Good job. I love it.
You like it or no?
Yeah, I love the color. Color's awesome. Cute. Good job.
I just wanted something to sit on.
Good idea. Kind of ties in all the wood too.
Yeah. I just hate not having a place to put my boots on now that your cedar chest is gone.
It got broken.
Yeah. bring your wallet? You have to pull a couple teeth out, I think. See if the tooth fairy can help us out. I think we hit the limit. Nope, you had it. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's go. I drove the truck around yesterday for an hour and it ran down the road beautifully. It's only got a 3-speed transmission in it right now. It's got a turbo 400, I believe, and it runs out of gears real quick, which means it's going to be expensive to drive with the big block that's in it. It also has a bump steer that's going on, and that's caused by the fact that I took the steering stabilizer off. So I'm going to need to put at least 1, if not 2 steering stabilizers on the front end, and that should take care of everything. But the redhead steering box I put in, the new pump, and all the crossover steering parts, they all did their job perfectly. It does not ride as good as my Dodge does, but I can live with it as long as I can find some better seats that are in it. The seats that are in it look like they're out of an old Camaro or something. And while they're not in horrible shape, they're just not what I'm looking for. So I'd like to find some new seats out of a newer truck at some point in time. And there's a good chance I'm going to send the Dodge down the road. I'm excited to drive this truck though.